you know what it feels like to bury somebody, and I don't want to bury Mark. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to go to his funeral and see his 3 kids grow up without a dad, because they feel like that already sometimes. Like they don't want him around sometimes, and it's like, it's gonna be tough for a little bit. Like, if I'm speaking to him, it's like it's gonna be tough, but like you give yourself a few years, you get your life back together, and like they're still young. Like the kids are like oldest ones in high school, so they're still super young.
You never know what someone's going to do in their day to day.
It's amazing when you just come full circle and
Like sleep on the pavement.
Yeah, man. Best part was the crowd.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Loft. Today I have very special guests, Allie and Dylan's mom. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
So you guys have been a huge part of like the Grace Project recently, and I know like you have a pretty deep like backstory of why you guys got involved. So I wanted to have you guys on and just kind of talk about it and learn a little bit about your story, because I know you lost your brother and your son to an overdose. How long ago was it?
June 28th of this year.
Wow, so like a few months ago. Yeah, so on this podcast, like I like to have people on who have these stories that like are able to really impact other people, and turn a story that maybe sound like a tragedy into something good, which you guys have done like with the Grace Project for however long you guys been involved. You guys been coming out for what, a few months? So real quick, we interrupt this podcast to bring you a word from a few of our sponsors for this episode. Cats Dogs Canine is a one-stop shop for all of your dog needs with training, grooming, boarding, daycare, and more. Located on 35 Mobile Road in Percy, PA, check out Cats Dogs Canine and let them know the Loft sent you. Hustle and Glow is a luxury mobile spray tan business in the heart of Port Richmond that services all affiliate and surrounding areas. There are plenty of times people choose not to get a spray tan or have trouble getting spray tans because of the inconvenient travel, no one to watch the kids, car troubles, etc. At Hustle and Glow, we offer a variety of services such as single spray tan sessions and bridal party spray tan packages conveniently in the comfort of the client's own home. For more information or to see our work, you can check us out on Instagram at Hustle and Glow or book us directly through the link below. This episode is also brought to you by Brittany Keys Realty, one of the top realtors in the city of Philadelphia, young, up-and-coming realtor. She helped me find my apartment that I currently live in today. She's been a huge help in that process, sending me emails through her portal and all that stuff, and keeping up to date with me and checking in with me regularly to make sure I find my place that I'm happy with. So if you guys need anyone for realty, look no further than Brittany Keys Realty and let her know the Loft sent you. This episode is also brought to you by Busy Meals Philadelphia. So Busy Meals is a small, at-home based business ran by a stay-at-home mom of 4. Cooking was always her passion, so she figured since she was at home with her kids already, why not turn her dream into her job and reality? She specializes in homemade prepared meals, offers healthy meals, comfort food, keto, vegan, vegetarian, and breakfast options as well. They're located right in the Northeast on Grant Academy. They're extremely flexible for pickup, and you usually have to give them around 2 to 3 days notice, depending on how busy they are. I've personally tried their egg rolls, and they're absolutely amazing. So I completely endorse this company and this brand, and I hope you guys reach out. And also, too, when you reach out, let them know the Loft sent you. Like I said, amazing food. All of our sponsors have been amazing, and you should check them all out. They'll all be linked below. And back to the episode. Sorry, a little bit of a break. All right, so so you guys have been a huge part. What have you been like for a few months?
Yeah, last week was week 16. So yeah, a couple months now.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and you've helped me and Meg out so much. You guys, I remember like the first time, because I wasn't able to come for a little while, and I came back and you guys had like clothes, a table, like it was just nuts. And I was like, wow, that's exactly what we needed for the Grace Project. And you guys have been a huge part of that. So I wanted to thank you guys for all your support and just being a part of the family, But yeah, I definitely, if you guys don't mind sharing, like, I want to talk a little bit about your son, what kind of person he was, and what this, the story behind everything in his passing.
Okay. Do you want me to do that? Sure. Okay. So, Dylan was my little brother. We were 2 years apart, and everybody thought we were twins. We were always really close. Even when we were little, I used to beat him up, and everybody told me like, oh, you better watch out when he's bigger than you. And ever since he started getting bigger than me, he had excelled at everything.
Mm.
Even we would go ice skating and I would fall a million times and he's doing laps around me. And I remember in high school, I had a teacher who was also the high school football coach, and he used to harass me when Dylan was about to be in 9th grade, and because he wanted him on the team. He was
Right.
just good at everything he did. Everybody liked him. He lit up a room. Just a really good guy, and loved his family, loved his nephews, loved animals. Really enjoyed his pets and spending time with them. And
You sound like a good dude. So when did it start? His addiction.
so Dylan and I have always kind of had anxiety in different ways, and we both kind of we weren't the best at going to school and stuff like that. We were just like always kind of felt different, and honestly, our father introduced us to pills. He gave us both perks at a very young age, and that's kind of when it all started. And then Dylan proceeded. He actually dropped out of high school in 10th grade, and it kind of just started fumbling and going downhill from there. He was supposed to be working a full-time job. He wasn't really doing that. He was just kind of blowing with the breeze, not really being a kid. So even in that aspect, he was free from school, if you will, but he wasn't really being a kid. He was burdened with things at a young age, such as like getting a truck repossessed and stuff like that, just because he threw himself into a world that he wasn't really ready for and wasn't equipped with the tools to deal with. And he just put Band-Aids over things over and over again. And that's just kind of how it was for a while. And it would be pills, and then it would be, he had phases with stuff, but definitely when he picked up heroin, that was the worst phase of them all. It was really hard to watch. I actually was living in South Carolina for a good part of when he was really bad, and I came home to get him and my dad actually into rehab. I ended up relapsing myself, and Dylan actually found me unconscious on a kitchen floor and had to bring me back. So we definitely kind of struggled together different times of our life, and he was my baby brother, and I feel like he's kind of what always kind of would get me sober and bring me to, because I had to be the voice of reason, and some things it was like, all right, this is going a little bit too far, like let's rein it back in. And he always kind of it would open my eyes seeing like how bad he was getting or how it was affecting him, because I felt like I needed to protect him because my father wasn't. And it just kind of just went downhill. And then he stopped hanging out with his high school friends, and he had these so-called friends that he would hang out with after him and my dad. My dad ended up going to prison, so they were separated, and Dylan was kind of on his own. And that was his chance to get it together. He couldn't blame anything on my dad anymore, and this was him. These were his decisions, and he would get it together for a little bit. It was a struggle, and I know Mom had some rehab experiences with him. I'm kind of circling all over the place at this point, but
I understand exactly where you're coming from. So that seems like a common theme, is like, it's tough because, like I said, I have someone in my family who currently struggles with addiction, and it's like seeing my mom and like grandmom like deal with it, and it's like a constant battle. It's a it's not just one day you're clean and you're good. Like it's little by little every single day doing the same routine and making sure you maintain that, and it becomes a routine for yourself. Was there anything internally that he was just struggling with in his life that led him to progressing further?
I think a lot of it was just like childhood trauma that he never dealt with. When he would get really down, he would open up and just tell me that there was things that he didn't know how to deal with, and his anxiety freaked him out. It freaked him out that he didn't like being around people, when at one point he really enjoyed being around people, and that kind of made him uncomfortable. And he was just was sad. He lost sight of what made him happy, and he didn't know how to fix his problems, and it was just easier for him to suffer and put Band-Aids on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of reasons why people use, like, you know, they drink or they use drugs, because they're always trying to cover up something that's, you know, darker than, you know, what may be on the surface.
I think his thoughts scared him at times, and he didn't know how to deal with it.
Right. And I always know too, like, it's a constant struggle of, like, should you be too hard on them? Should you be push back a little bit, or like let them go? And it's like, it's always a tough balance between that. So Mom, how was like taking him to rehab and stuff like that? What did you do to kind of keep him focused? Was there anything you would say to him or anything like that?
He did go to rehab 3 times in about the last 5 years. He went on his own, but he did not want to stay beyond detox. He never completed the program. He just said, I got this. I want to come home. He just wasn't in tune with the structured rehabilitation process.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew then what I do now about substance use disorder, because I didn't understand it. I kept it from my family because I didn't know how to explain something that I didn't understand.
Right.
And sadly, when he passed and I had to start making phone calls, I had family members who didn't even know that Dylan had those kinds of problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very common. It's like, usually when it's like too late or they're gone, it's like, oh, I didn't know he was struggling with that. And that's why, like, having conversations like these and you guys speaking and telling your story is so pivotal, because it's people listening who hear that, oh, you know, Dylan's mom and Allie, you know, they struggle with the same thing as me and they deal with the same thing as me. And you guys are actively searching for new ways to help other people and other people who are, who are addicted and who struggle, you know.
Mm-hmm. Dylan was always a good kid, and it kind of went under the radar because he didn't get himself into trouble, and he was an outstanding athlete, and he loved his family, and he had a lot of hobbies.
Right.
And it just kind of...
Addiction doesn't discriminate. You know, that's something I learned, is that addiction has so many different faces. Like, even being out there in Kensington, it's like you see these super young kids who are like, you know, maybe 19, 20, and they're out there and they look like you'd see them in the hallways at school or something. And it's like, you just never know. And it like I said, it doesn't have a face to it. You know, it's definitely rough to see people go through that. And I think, like, what I've been trying to teach myself and learn in terms of someone in my family who struggles is, like, how can I be a resource for them? How can I help them in any way? And it's like, I felt like starting this and getting involved with Meg and the Grace Project was a way for me to do that. So hopefully, you know, he can see it. And that's why it's important to, you know, turn something negative into something positive, ultimately, what you guys have done. When did your efforts start? What really, like, what, obviously I know Dylan definitely was a huge part in that, but what other kind of enjoyment do you find in working with, you know, nonprofits and you guys being the good people that you are?
So I found the Grace Project probably in like April, and I loved that Meg was a Central Bucks graduate, because I am too, and people just don't think that this can happen in the CB area.
In a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah. Not a Blue Ribbon High School. Like, I loved that, and I felt connected to her just based on that. And then I loved her story. I remember watching her videos and having tears in my eyes. And so I wanted to get involved then. And then when Dylan died in June, that just kind of leaped me forward. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was in bed for a month, but after that, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. And before then, I couldn't even I didn't know what day of the week it was. And now I always know when Thursday is. And so it helped me a lot to get back out there. I always say that it's like my therapy. Like, that's what I do during the week. I sort the hygiene materials, I sort the clothes, I get things ready, and it helps me, and I'm helping other people. And it's just been really awesome.
Yeah, and you guys live like an hour away, right? You live in Doylestown, right? Out in that area. So, I mean, that's definitely a commute every single time. But there's, there's some super therapeutic, and I've been trying to like educate other people and just kind of like open the conversation up on like nonprofits and volunteering and just putting yourself out there, because there's different reasons why everyone goes out there, whether it personally affects them or they just want to be out there. And it's like, for me, every single Thursday when I'm out there, it's like, I constantly think, how can I make it bigger? How can we make it better? How can we create a culture and a family? You know, that's why I created the group chat and stuff. But it like resets your brain in a way. Mm-hmm. Like it definitely allows you
back.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it humbles you and it allows you to appreciate what you do have, you know, and that's always something that I struggle with, and I can imagine a lot of other people struggle with. But when Dylan passed, what was that process like, and just what is the importance of healing, and how did you guys heal from that, or try to, at least?
I would say we're still figuring that out.
Right.
Every day's a little bit different, and I mean, at first, like, just completely shattered, world upside down. I mean, he had been clean living at home for 6 months, and he had a bad day, and I never would have expected that. And to say we're heartbroken and devastated is completely an understatement. But I just, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. I always used to tell Dylan 10 toes down, head up, and that I have to take my own advice now. And like I said, I didn't get out of bed for a month at first, and this has helped me, because on the days where I didn't feel like doing anything, I need to hold myself accountable for all these people who are expecting or looking for help or need my help. And so that's kind of what's helped me. But healing it's different. I mean, I've definitely learned that there's no room for things that don't make you happy in your life, and that life's really short, and you should love as hard as you can and be grateful for everything you have, and lend a helping hand. And it costs nothing to be a good person.
That's true. Yeah, I think a lot of people lose sight of that. You know, it's like they overthink it, but as long as you actively put yourself in there and go 10 toes deep, it's like you'll find something that makes you happy, and you also find, you know, some sort of peace and solace in losing somebody, you know. So Mom, have you spoken with any other grieving mothers? I know you mentioned a little bit, you guys have a little bit of a little mini community of.
I do. I have a local angel moms group, if you will. There's 5 of us, and our sons were all pretty much around the same age, and they all passed recently. And we kind of hold ourselves together, and we're all doing different things to help other people.
Right.
And I know when I go down to Kensington for outreach, you know, I see these kids. These are someone else's children. And, you know, if I can ask them their name and give them something that they need, it makes me feel better that I'm helping someone else's child.
Right.
And, you know, maybe giving them some hope to go home so that their parents don't have to bury them.
Yeah. Do you have anything you would say to a mother who has just lost her son, or someone who has a child in their life that is addicted and struggles with that every day?
Just do everything you can and try to educate yourself and support them. And you go through all the emotions, you know, you're angry and you want to shut them out, but they need your help. And it's really it's really a tough thing. And Dylan didn't struggle as long as some of the other stories that I hear. You know, there are parents who have had children who have struggled for decades.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like my Uncle Mark, I'm so sorry. My uncle, he I think he needs to hear this anyway, but my uncle was, you know, in high school at Lincoln Playground, and we never knew. And like maybe 5 years ago or so, like we found some drugs on him. And it's crazy because like drugs can just really like destroy a family, and it can like it's just it's a disease that I wish we had a cure that was super simple. You know what I mean? And like it's something that we struggled with as a family. Seeing my mom deal with it and like her not even like wanting to be around him and like not wanting to invite him to family parties and like seeing if he got skinny or if he's looking bigger, like how his condition is. And it's like you sort of want to feel for him because I feel like he's clouded by judgment from everyone around him, and it's like he feels like there's no escape to it. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, it's a process that can like take your life in 6 months or years down the line. But like something I would tell him is like there's no judgment. Like there's no like no one's judging you. You know, I stress that like when I'm out there in Kensington, I'm not judging a single person out there. I want to help them from the bottom of my heart because like you said, you don't want to have to, you know, you know what it feels like to bury somebody, and I don't want to bury Mark. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to go to his, you know, funeral and see his 3 kids grow up without a dad because they feel like that already sometimes. You know, like they don't want him around sometimes, and it's like, you know, it's going to be tough for a little bit. Like, you know, if I'm speaking to him, it's like, it's going to be tough, but like you give yourself a few years, you get your life back together, and like, they're still young. Like the kids are like oldest one's in high school. So they're still super young, and you never want someone to grow up hating their dad because of an addiction, you know, a disease that he has, you know. And it's like, it's something I've been able to understand is like, it's every single day process. It's waking up in the morning and making sure you're not using, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a tough process, but like at the end of the day, if you just stick to it and let it compound over time, you know, you'll be fine, you know. And then guess what? Like it gives people an opportunity like you guys and Meg Meg completely turned her life around in a span of 2 years, you know, because she was able to beat it. And it's tough because not everybody does, but if you are able to beat it and you're able to handle it, just, you know, your story should be heard, you know. And that's why I wanted you guys to talk about Dylan's story. So speaking of Dylan, what kind of guy was he? What was he involved in? Like what were some of his good qualities that he had that made him who he is or was, excuse me?
He was just like an all around goofy dude. He was always cracking jokes, always he couldn't even answer the phone seriously. He was always like Yizzo and
yeah, all
crazy and stuff. But and a lot of that was, I think, a front most of the time. Right, but no, he was a really great guy. He was very athletic. He was really good at sports. He went to MBIT for construction, and then he was actually an apprentice for the local 30 roofers union in Philly, and he was really skilled at that. But Dylan, I don't know. He really loved his family. He spent a lot of time with my grandsons, pitching to them in the backyard, trying to help them be good baseball players too. And he was home over the winter months. He came home at Christmas last year, and during the winter, you know, I'd come home from work and we would binge watch Bates Motel and the Sixers and the Flyers, and then, you know, we started watching the Phillies. Like he was always there. He was like my buddy. Yeah. You know, he would help me go grocery shopping or Costco, and I'd make him carry all the heavy stuff. And he was always there to help, always. And, you know, he loved being home again and having all those comforts. So some of the comforts that he enjoyed, I like to take with me to Kensington. Like when I purchase blankets to donate, I wash them first. I wash them so that they're fluffy and they smell nice, so that maybe it reminds them of home. And the chicken sandwiches, everybody knows about my Mississippi.
You guys are killing it with the sandwiches.
The chicken sandwiches, and I'm like, I made these sandwiches in my crock pot today. Like I came home from work and I made 100 sandwiches for you guys. Yeah. And you know, I write those little notes, and
Dylan used to always get a kick out of that when they were in elementary school. When they would brown bag their lunch, I would pack their lunch and I would write them little notes and put them in their lunch. And they used to love that. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to write notes. And, you know, I just write something simple like "you're worth it," you know, with the heart and Dylan's mom. And, you know, on some of them I write that I miss him. And when I'm there, they're like, "You're Dylan's mom. You write the notes." Like they're like, "We know about your notes."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I write them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, being able to celebrate, you know, somebody who has such a great life and was such a big influence. It's amazing how their life, you know, can live on. Like I truly believe that people can live on through the actions of the people that love them, because it is a reflection on him because of the people that he surrounded himself with. You know what I mean? Right. You guys both, you know, maybe next time we bring a little less bagels, but because we always have like way too many, but
so many bagels. Yeah.
Thanks, Jewel Brundage.
Yeah. Thank you, Jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So like, what have you guys found in being out there in Kennington? Like, what has that experience been like for you? Just being out there and, you know.
Well, for me, I at first like I said, I found the Grace Project before I lost my brother, and I was like, oh, that's great that they do outreach, but I don't think I could ever go back there. Like that was kind of my mindset. And then after Dylan passed away, that was most definitely my mindset. And then I don't know, something just kind of clicked, and I was like, what? I can't just like act like this isn't happening, like right in our backyard, pretty much. When it affects me, it affects everybody, and I feel so passionate about this. Right. So I need to get out there. And
no, you're good. No, it's super important just to it truly is important to just get yourself out there. And something I've learned is that, you know, when you're writing them notes to the people out there, it's like it means something to them. So I had this woman, Colette, reach out, and she let me see if I have a picture. I had this woman, Colette, reach out to me last week, and I picked up some clothes donations from her and the pictures. But it was like, I had a moment where it really hit me, like, just like how important it is to take something bad and turn it into something good, because you can. I met up with Colette, and she gave me the clothes, and she said, hey, can you bring these pictures and, you know, put them out there and put this in memory of Bri? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And the moment really hit me where I was taking pictures of the group, and I sent her the pictures, and I sent her the picture of me and Meg with her son. And I said, this is all because of your son. Your son is the reason behind this. You know, it's just you know, his donations, because he always wanted to help people. You know, he was a good soul, always wanted to take care of people, and he was out there in Kennington, and he said to himself, you know, when I get clean, I want to give back. You know, and you know, life didn't pan that way for him, but through his mom and the people that love him and the actions of the people that love him, you know, he's able to live on. You know, so I had like a super emotional moment, and then, you know, I thought of Dylan and just like the people that are living through him. Is like, it's so powerful, and it creates a community of people wanting to help other people. That's what the Grace Project is. That's what, you know, being out there every single Thursday, giving 2 hours of your week to make sure these people are okay, with no expectation of getting anything from it, except you know, just the fulfillment that you get from helping other people, from giving them, making them sandwiches and bagels with cream cheese. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I just find something so beautiful in that. And the people there, like, it could be anyone. It could be your son. It could be your, you know, sister, you know, anyone. And it's just like, you know, seeing these faces out there of people who are suffering, and just for a little bit, just getting rid of that suffering from them. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just want to just stress that enough to people. Like, I don't think people talk about it enough, especially when you start to get a little older and shit becomes more real in your life. Because when you're growing up, everything's so great. I remember, like, we used to have family reunions every year. We used to go, you know, my cousin Eric would DJ, and we're all having a great time. Then it's like life happens. People get divorced. People pass away. People get hooked on the habits that they may not should have been in. But life gets real, and it hits you, and it's all about how you respond, you know. And instead of you guys, you know, crumbling and, you know, just kind of like letting it consume you, you guys healed, you grieved, and now you're able to prevent someone else's son, daughter, brother, sister from making that same mistake, or going down that path. I wouldn't say mistake, but going down that path, or at least help them get out of it, you know?
Yeah. And something that always stuck with me is a saying that without pain, there is no passion.
Yeah.
And I think that is so true, especially in this case. And
Absolutely.
I mean, we're definitely passionate about it. And we kind of came up with Dylan's Hope Dealers, and then I thought about it more and more, and it's like I've kind of always been Dylan's Hope Dealer, so it's kind of perfect. And always
I like that.
trying to because I was always telling him like, you got this. I was always trying to get him back integrated with the family and stuff like that, and I was always his biggest advocate, no matter what, no matter if he was calling me a bitch 2 seconds before. It was always I always had his back, and I would like to do that for these people. And because a lot of people, like, even some of them want to talk, and that conversation that you have with them means so much to them. And I've gotten to know so many people out there, and I go back and I see them every week. I have my people, and I bring them stuff, and I put their names on. Yeah,
and you guys I saw you were talking to some guy for like 30 minutes last week.
We almost got him to go to treatment. He's one that I've been working on for a couple weeks now. Yeah, he's a little stubborn, but he's almost there.
Right.
And
it's nice building a community, though. You know, people recognizing people and seeing them every week, and eventually getting them in there.
Well, and that's another thing too. Just community, and like how you were saying about how the Grace Project is one thing. And I know you've said this about your angel moms too. It's like, even though this tragedy brought me to you guys and my mom to her angel moms, like, I'm so grateful that I've found everybody that I've connected with. And it's like you said, it's a family, it's a whole new friend group, it's this whole new thing, and we're all there for the same reason. And it's nice to have that. And where the stigma doesn't exist, and we're able to just do our thing,
no judgment,
because that's what we're there to do. And it's been really great. I look forward to it every week. Thursday's my favorite day of the week. I actually would like to go down twice a week in the future if I could. I
actually thought about it. I was thinking in my head, I was like, what if we were able to do like multiple tables, like scattered throughout the park, and make the park a safer place, or a home for, not all the rats, but all the just all the people who want to come and just like get some food, get a meal, get a toothbrush. Like, it's crazy. Like, these people don't realize, like, they don't have these things out there. You know what I mean? Like, these people are like, oh wow, I haven't able to sleep well in a week. They get a blanket, or they get a new hoodie or something. You mentioned community, and I wanted to ask Mom, with your I'll call them your sisters, the moms who are grieving as well. What do you guys talk about? What is something that you do to help heal and grieve, for the moms listening out there?
We talk about our boys a lot, how they send us signs, and we feel like they're always with us, and we kind of joke that that they're all together too. And we all have that common bond, and we're all doing things to move forward to help other people who are struggling, and their families as well. We're all doing something a little bit different. That's
good. That's awesome. I always believe that there's strength in numbers, and the fact you guys are able to come together and just talk is definitely, I'm sure it helps. You have any advice to any siblings or mothers, fathers, someone who's had a loss? I know I asked this before, but what would you say to them if they're if there's someone who has someone in their life that is currently addicted?
To someone who has someone in their life that's currently addicted, I would say, don't ever give up. Let them come home and listen to them. Listen to them. I don't care what they've done in the past. It can be different, and this isn't this doesn't have to be their story and their life forever.
Right.
And I think that is so important, because I used to I feel like that kind of got lost sometimes with Dylan, and I was always really trying to push that in. I always wanted to keep him safe, and at the end of the day, that would just be my message, I think. And then for somebody who lost a sibling, I mean, this is definitely the hardest thing I have ever gone through, but I would say step one, get out of bed. And sitting in bed and being sad. I mean, granted, I think you do need to do that sometimes and get it out. However, not every day. My brother's memory is not living on if I'm crying in bed 24/7. So instead, I'm doing stuff like this. I'm getting involved with different nonprofits. I'm sharing his story. I'm sharing my story. I'm being personable. I'm trying to squash the stigma around all of this. And Dylan hated being the center of attention, so I'm sorry, but I'm this is a point that needs to be proven, and I think things need to start going in another direction. And if my pain can help other people, then this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. You mentioned talking about communicating and listening. I think that's something that people always forget. I think a lot of people put their pride or ego ahead of what they should be doing. I firmly believe, from just my experience and seeing my grandma chase my Uncle Mark down the street, like, I'm not going to give up on you, like, stuff like that, like just seeing her run, and she can't run. She's old. She can't run, so it's just like listening, communicating, and understanding. It's they know they're in a tough time. They know what they're doing is wrong, and they know that they're stuck. They feel stuck. They feel stuck. And you have to be that light for them to get out. And it's gonna suck. It's gonna be taxing on you mentally, physically. But if you do love that person, I think just a little bit more love. So, and that goes with everything in life. Lead a little bit more with love. And it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think if you lead with love and you try to understand, not just hear them, but understand them, I think it'll help get a little bit closer to the solution. And granted, it does start with them. They ultimately have to make that action, and they have to, it just has to hit for them and click for them. And sometimes it does, and sometimes they don't reach it in time. I guess I'll say that. Because I know they always want to get clean. Everyone who's addicted, I can imagine, being when we're out in Kensington, it's like, I tell a story a lot, but this one really hit me. It's like when I first started Kensington, and this guy was like standing around, and he just was kind of hanging out, and I'm like, he looked like a normal person. I was like, hey, do you want to volunteer? You want to, get in? And he was like, if you need me to. I was like, okay. I was like, do you want any food? He's like, no, I'm all right. Stood there the whole night, and it's like about a half hour left, and I see this dude talking to Scott and Meg, and he just starts breaking down, and I'm like, well, this dude was here all night, didn't say a word to anybody. But long story short, he was out there struggling, and we got him into a recovery house that night, and we got him a ride there that night. And the thing that really struck me is that this dude was there all night, and they didn't say a word, but I could see it in his eyes that there was something wrong. A lot of times people are just scared to speak up. They're scared to talk about it, and they're scared to want to reach out because they don't know what the answer is going to be. So like, it's just that really struck a chord with me, because I just sat there and I was staring at this dude, and I was like, why is he here? And then I realized it was because he needed help, and he didn't know where to go, but he looked to us, and that's what these people do. They just want to be understood. They may not make the best decisions, but they want to be understood and listened to, and they need help.
Well, and believe it or not, but a lot of those people are trying their best. I mean, everything feels impossible when you're trying to overcome addiction, and you're trying to pull yourself out of there, and literally having nothing but the clothes on your back and the shoes on your feet. I mean, I can't imagine trying to get back into normal life, and that's part of the problem with everything with our rehabilitation system right now. It's not as ideal as it could be. But going back to how you were saying, like, although you could see it in their eyes, and some people don't want to start the conversation. Some people aren't going to come up to you and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys are here. I want to get out of here."
Yeah,
and sometimes that does happen.
They're scared, yeah.
But sometimes we do have to start the conversation, and that's part of the reason why we do bring this stuff down, because I've already been asked, well, don't you think you're enabling them by bringing stuff like that down? And we bring nothing but basic necessities down. Warm clothes, food, hygiene products, stuff like that. And but it's also helped start the conversation, because like you said, a lot of those people are scared. They're embarrassed. They don't want to come up and start the conversation and put their whole life on the table and be like, I need to get out of this situation. Can you help me? Because that also seems like a miracle. Nobody in their mind, that would never happen. Right. And that's what we're there to do. And it's amazing. And I'm just so grateful that I found people that go out there and do this.
Yeah. And I think there's such a beauty in those. And I think even I believe, like, even when someone passes, it's like they're still there. They still live on no matter what. Dylan's still living on 100%. And it's like, you know, these people have to understand, like, we're here for you. We're not, you know, we had somebody drive down the street, and not everyone's going to understand what you're doing in the beginning. Not everyone's going to understand why you're there, what your motives are, or whatever. We had some lady in the beginning. She was driving her car and stopped in front of us in the car and was like, "You guys get your asses out of Kennington. Like, why are you guys here? Like, we're at some charity case." I'm like, I mean, no one said a word. I told, like, I was with this girl, Brittany. She was there with us. I said, "Britt, don't say a word." Meg, like, don't say nothing. We just stood there and let her drive away. You know, not everyone's going to understand it. Yeah. But, you know, over time, when people start getting clean and all that, you know, they'll still start to realize it. But even too, like, I was talking to somebody who was volunteering, and he was like, why are we, because we're thinking about sending like a bus down that can fit like 6 people, and like it's a little bus that goes to Camden and takes them right into the treatment right away. So if people instantly, like, no excuses, no bullshit. Yeah, like, you're getting in the car. Yeah. If you want to get in, you're getting in. And the one guy was like, I don't understand. These people just want to get in and get out. And I'm like, dude, I said, that's not the point. I said, if you're giving them access to it and they take that chance, all it takes is one person, and make it worth it. You know what I mean? Even if they relapse it, it's still worth it, because you're giving them that opportunity to get clean. That door is open. Is there for them. They can open it if they choose to. You know, and us being out there, it's like, I feel like we're giving them a choice. You know, we're giving them an active choice of, you know, we're not enabling them. We're keeping them alive. We're taking care of them. We're showing them that they are loved, because they don't hear that a lot. They're in the streets by themselves. They're in, you know, bandos, and they're in their house. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there has to be somebody.
Or they're out there because of tough love.
Right.
And tough love isn't love, and it doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work. And you have to understand why they're struggling and try to help them. And I think that it's important too for parents to reach out to other parents whose children are struggling, because I think that would have been important for me to know, because there was so much about this that I didn't know and I didn't understand, because he kept it from me.
Right.
And if people talk about it and they help each other, it will, you know, it'll help the kids.
Right. Yeah. It'll help the kids. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation and educate yourself. You know, and that's what you're doing now, you know, and why you're going to be able to inspire so many other moms and family members, because, you know, you're taking what you've learned and what you've actively seeked out information wise, and you're able to educate other people. You know, I know you guys are doing a lot, and it's like, you know, people need to see that people are out there trying to educate themselves, and it is important to, like, just communicate, understand, and also talk about it. And is there anything you've learned from speaking with the moms?
I just feel like, I wonder if we were friends before and we knew one another and our boys knew each other, if maybe we could have saved them somehow. You know, and that's the most frustrating thing. It's the helplessness and the hopeless feeling of not being able to save them.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that, and like I said, I know one of my friends lost his brother a few years ago to overdose. Spoke with the mom a little bit, and something I kind of tried to tell her a little bit is because I've personally never experienced it, which I am, fortunate that I have the ability to try and, speak to him. But this is something that I kind of want to tell you guys too. I know you guys might feel this way, but it's not your fault. You didn't. There isn't anything you couldn't have done. I know, like you're super, like you're a great mom. Like you're such a nice, caring woman. You're the first one out there, doing everything out there, making sure everyone's taken care of. Like it's not a reflection on you or even Dylan. It's the disease itself that sometimes overtakes it, and sometimes it's so strong that sometimes it makes it extra harder to get out of it, or get cured from, So don't think that there's anything you could have done differently, because Dylan all the things we talked about with Dylan being a great athlete, wanting to help people, that wouldn't be possible without you. That wouldn't be possible without you. That wouldn't be possible. You know what I'm saying? It's like the disease itself takes a mind of its own. It takes on a life of its own, and it has no reflection on the family. If I could speak to her right now, it's not a reflection on you, because she's a great woman too. She's just like you, kind, caring, just like super nurturing. And it's like, it's nothing you could have done. It's just the disease itself that we're trying to help bring awareness to and speak about. It somewhat took on a life of its own, that sometimes is a little bit more a little harder to get out of than most. And every person's different. Every personality is different, so there's people like Meg who were able to battle it. And then there's, people that sometimes it may take a little bit more for them, and God may have a different plan for them. But if that is the case, it's super important that he's celebrated. Dylan is constantly celebrated within your family, I'm sure. And he's constantly celebrated every single week, whether you guys know it or not, because without Dylan being the person that he was, the kind, caring, just good person that he was, you guys wouldn't be out here. It's a complete reflection on you guys in the best way possible. You may not have your son with you or your brother with you, but you're able to live his legacy and memory. Like his life isn't over. It continues after this. And the only people that have a say are you guys, and you guys are making sure he lives on, and that the name is with a good connotation to it. Dylan is you guys are a reflection of Dylan, and you guys are out there every single week busting your ass, sorting the hygiene, doing everything. And that's because of Dylan. That is Dylan.
Exactly.
The Grace Project is Dylan. And the Grace Project is people who are having that inner battle with themselves, who want to get clean and who want to help others. And you don't even have to be addicted. I personally have never struggled with addiction. That's something that I am blessed to say I have, but I want to help people. I love people. I love being able to make somebody smile by giving them a bagel or a toothbrush. It's those things, and you don't have to be good at it. You don't have to know what you're doing. Get yourself out there, put yourself in that position to succeed. You know what I mean? And you guys have done a phenomenal job at that. And just sitting here having this conversation with you made my night, because it's like, I know you guys are good people, but like being able to hear your story and talk about it really like puts it in perspective for me and Dylan, the kind of person he was. Because I know you speak so highly of him, and we don't even call you by your name. We call you Dylan's mom, So it's like, that's got to say something, right? So I had to know what the magic was behind it. And I did learn that tonight. And thank you guys so much for sharing your story and celebrating him, because this is a celebration for Dylan. It's a night we were able to come together. I light candles every single episode. That's a constant theme of mine, but like we were able to celebrate Dylan. And thank you for having the courage to come on and share your story and being vulnerable. And because I'm telling you right now, there are so many people that listen who are going to be able to take something from this and incorporate it into their own life, whether they're grieving or they're currently trying to help somebody in their life, because you guys, you're going to save a lot of people, because you know what I mean? So I want to thank you guys. Yeah. And I'm super excited to keep working with you guys with the Grace Project. You guys like are literally like killing it. Like you guys do so much, and you have no idea how much it means to me and Meg, just being able to
help.
Yeah, and
it's my thing.
Yeah, you guys are super good at it, and it's gonna pay off in the end, because I'm just super excited to see where it goes once we have the whole park lit up, or we are able to open up a store with clothes or something like that. You know, so I want to thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. And
thanks for having us.
Dylan was here with us the whole time. I'm glad you brought this picture. We were able to hang this up. So
he's actually right in here too.
Okay,
I have his ashes in this necklace.
That's
so
all.
He's everywhere with me.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, you know, this is a celebration for Dylan. And you know, he lives on every single day through you guys and through what you guys do every single week for the people out in Kennington. And you're going to save lives from that. You really are.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's working. It
is
working.
It is. And, you know, we'll just see where life takes us and see what happens. But I'm super excited to meet you guys. I'm super happy that you guys came into my life and we came in your life. So, and also too, real quick, how can a mom reach out to you? Do you have a Facebook group chat or anything that they can reach you on?
I'm part of the Pennsylvania Team Sharing Group. It's a local Pennsylvania chapter of Team Sharing for parents who've lost their children.
Okay.
We're also on Instagram as Dylan's Hope Dealers, and that's another way.
Yes.
Anybody can reach out at any time for any reason.
Yes, reach out to them. They are more willing to help, and you guys already are, like I said. But yeah, please, I'll have everything linked in the description. But yeah, be sure to reach out. And and I guess we'll end off with this. Lead with love. Understand, listen, and communicate, and that'll solve a lot of problems, you know, and it goes with everything in life, you know. So I want to thank you guys for coming on once again. It's the Loft of Allie and Dylan's mom, and see you guys. Peace.